brings you the news. News across the country.
Good evening and welcome to the news across the country. Osun APC caution Governor-elect Transition Committee on false allegation against Oyetola. Court nullifies selection of PDP Plateau Reps member. Fashion news focuses on emerging trend of petching of body. 7 dies as flood ravages Niger State. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has promised to release the final list of candidates for next year's presidential, senatorial, and House of Representatives elections on the 20th of this month. The electoral umpire plans that political parties will be free to begin open campaigns beginning from this month. According to INEC Chairman Professor Mabudu Yakub, the publication of candidates list ahead of the national election is in compliance with Section 32, Cap 1 of the Electoral Act 2022. Said the final list for governorship and House of Assembly elections will be published next month. He noted that preparations for the 2023 general election will enter critical stages this month. Professor Yakub stressed that the engagement has become necessary because of the volatile security situation in parts of the country and its implications on the forthcoming elections. The Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC has cautioned the Transition Committee of the Governor-elect Senator Ademola Adeleke to desist from falsely accusing Governor Oyetola's administration of unsubstantiated sharp practices. The APC chairman, Prince Boyega Famodun, in a statement by his media advisor, described the accusations of the Transition Committee as unfounded and frivolous. He reminded the Governor-elect Transition Committee on the need to tread softly, stressing that Governor Adegboyega Oyetola's subsisting administration is a product of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whose tenure of 4 years graciously ends on November 27. It should be recalled that the Transition Committee of the Governor-elect, in a statement signed on behalf of the Media Publicity Subcommittee, Mr. Olawale Rashid, accused Governor Oyetola's led administration of illegal diversion of funds, among others. The ruling All Progressives Congress today featured its vice presidential candidate, Senator Kashim Shettima, describing him as a shining light in the party. The felicitation is coming in the wake of the former governor of Borno State's 56th birthday today. Earlier, the presidential candidates of the APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, had described his running mate as an extraordinary leader. According to him, Senator Shettima is a bold, courageous, selfless, brilliant, and committed leader who led his people through the most challenging period and did not allow the menace of Boko Haram to overwhelm him while he was governor. While recalling his laudable achievement as governor of Borno State, especially in education and infrastructure, the APC spokesman said the party is proud of the principles that drew up Senator Shettima as a running mate to Tinubu. Meanwhile, Osun State Governor Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola has congratulated former Borno State Governor and vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Kashim Shettima, on the occasion of his 56th birthday anniversary. In a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Ismail Omipidon, Governor Oyetola described Senator Shettima as a patriotic Nigerian, progressive politician, and seasoned administrator that has made sterling contributions to nation building. Governor Oyetola recalled how the celebrant, as the governor of Borno, raised the bar of good governance in the state, leaving behind a legacy of outstanding achievements and projects that are still visible and beneficial to the people of the state. He added that despite the challenges of insecurity, Senator Shettima laid a solid foundation that Governor Babagana Zulum is building on today, and that prosperity will be kind to him. Wife of Osun State Governor Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola has received a Global Exemplary Leadership Award from a United Kingdom-based non-governmental organization, Global Women Inventors and Innovators Network Global Wing. Presenting the award to the First Lady in the presence of the Governor at the Government House, Osogbo, the representative of the Global Women Initiators and Innovators Network in Nigeria, Engineer David Usige, said the nomination of Mrs. Oyetola followed rigorous selection and highly competitive process. Details are now presented from our studios.
Award, according to the NGO, is in recognition of Mrs. Oyetola's humanitarian services and commitment to impacting the lives of the masses, including a consistent effort in advocating material, child and adolescent sexual and reproductive health, enhancing the standard of living of women and children, as well as creating gender equality. Mrs. Oyetola was the only Nigerian awarded out of the 32 awardees selected across the globe for the award in October last year. Engineer Osigi stressed that interventions and quick response towards championing the betterment of women and girls, advancing their quality health care service delivery, vigorous campaign against rape, sexual violence, abuse and gender-based violence in general, and indeed building a public campaign in the elimination of open defecation in the state were part of the yardsticks with which she was considered for the award. He noted that the nomination and selection were in reciprocation of the various advocacy intervention programs executed by Mrs. Oyetola that were targeted at advancing the cause of women and children, particularly the vulnerable, as far back as the year 2004. He maintained that the assessment process included an evaluation carried out by independent panel of international judges led by Mr. Mark Sheehan, President IPI, and in residence at the British Library as part of the validation process, the outcome of which led to a consideration for the Global Exemplary Award. In a short acceptance speech, Mrs. Kafayat Oyetola appreciated the kind gesture of the organization for finding her worthy of the award, describing it as motivation to do more. In his remarks, the governor of the state, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, congratulated his wife and lauded the organization for considering her for the Noble Award.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) has failed to sell enough crude oil to offset its petrol subsidy debt to oil marketers in Nigeria. Data obtained from NNPC's presentation to the Federation Account Allocation Committee for July showed that NNPC incurred a petrol subsidy payment of 448.7 billion naira in July. The subsidy payment in July is a record high since the re-emergence of subsidy payments earlier this year. Interestingly, the document showed that just about 400 billion naira was the gross domestic crude oil and gas receipt. This implies that the amount spent on petrol subsidy for the month exceeded the total oil sold for the month by roughly 48 billion naira. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has raised the alarm over the rapid emergence of a dangerous new psychoactive substance known as acoskura. The drug is made of herbs laced with tobacco, cannabis, and rapidly replacing controlled substances, dominantly in the northern and southwest parts of the country. According to NDLEA Nigeria Chairman's Special Assistant, Mr. Mahmoud Yola, the effect includes sudden, violent, regular movements of the body and contraction of muscles. Mr. Yola explains that it is of different varieties, both liquid and powdered, and used by people who mostly seek to get high. The National and State Assembly Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in High Court 4 Jos, today nullified the election of Honorable Musa Aga of the People's Democratic Party. The court held that Honorable Aga was not validly nominated by the PDP for the by-election conducted on February 26, 2022. The court also declared Aga did not score the highest valid vote in the election. A Plateau High Court sitting in Jos today discharged and acquitted a former governor of the state, Mr. Jonah Jang, over the 6.3 billion naira corruption charges levied against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The court, presided over by Justice Christy Dapo, also discharged and acquitted a former cashier in the office of the Secretary to Plateau State Government, Yusuf Pan, who was accused alongside the former governor. This is the news across the country, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation. Ilawiye Okebale Oshobo, Voice of the West. Now, amid this message. Support the government of the state of Osun in all you do. Fashion News today focuses on the emerging trend of multiple piercing on the body and its impact on the society. Let's now join Daniel Ekwere for more details.
Piercing have become increasingly popular and a socially acceptable form of body adjustment. The most common site of piercing is the ear, with increasing popularity involving the idea of piercing several parts of the body, including the mouth, nose, eyebrows, navel and genitals, often in the name of fashion. The practice of piercing the ear and nose is native to some African ethnic groups. In other words, body piercing is not a Western culture, nor is it a recent trend, as it dates back to centuries. Several youths, especially the females, undertake body piercings for different reasons, ranging from making a fashion statement to social rebellion and as a pain coping mechanism. The reasons for piercings or not piercings are varied. Some people pierce for religious or spiritual reasons, while others pierce for self-expression, for aesthetics, value, or for sexual pleasures, to conform to their cultures or to rebel against it. Although piercing nowadays is being done on almost any part of the body, the ear is still the most common part that is being pierced and provides the user with a whole range of styles. And young adults believe that body piercing is highly accepted among their peers and wishes to belong to the trend, wearing nose pins and stunning earrings. One of the impact of piercing to the society is that body piercing can affect modern society in several different ways. One is the way the art makes the society look at individuals differently, religious background, questioning the choices of newer generation, and also infectious disease they may cause if not cared for properly. OSBC Fashion News sought the opinion of Mr. Simeon Akinwole, who stressed that men, and most especially the women, do multiple piercings to beautify their bodies.
I don't know how to really put it, but the impact on our society is negative. I'm not seeing it adding any positive impact on our society. I'm not seeing good thing there.
While speaking with OSBC Fashion News, another respondent, Mr. Biola, said that the influence of social media celebrities constitutes to why there is an emerging trend in multiple piercing in our society.
It has impact on the society. Like now, let me first start. The multiple piercing starts from our celebrity. You know, many things that happens normally start from the celebrity. Like now, if maybe let me set an example. Lil Wayne is a singer in US. So if you see that guy, you see his face, all his face, there is a lot of piercing on his face. Now that one is common, and it's common among the musicians and female musicians and both male musicians. So now people try to copy them.
Daniel Ekwere for OSBC Fashion News.
7 persons have died in the last 4 days in the flood caused by heavy rainfall in Niger State. 7 local government areas are experiencing the negative impact of the rainfall, which has lasted for 4 days unstopped. The Director General of the Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Malam Hamed Inga, disclosed this to newsmen in Minna. According to him, 6 people died in Magama local government area, while 1 person died in Rafi local government. He said several others have been rendered homeless as a result of the flood. NIMET had predicted 4 days of heavy rainfall in 5 states, with Niger included. He called on the people living in riverine areas to relocate the safer grounds that have already been identified, urging residents across the state to avoid dumping refuse in drainages and limit their activities around the river banks during this period to avoid being flooded. Malam Inga also cautioned against people standing under trees during rainfall and staying in substandard structures, as the heavy rainfall is predicted to be accompanied by violent windstorms. In the reserve development, Kotangora town has been overtaken by flood as the heavy downpour has displaced residents and made people lose properties, businesses, and farmland. The Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency confirmed the incident in Kotangora, saying that they are still conducting an assessment of the drainage cost or damage caused by the flood. The 50th Founders Day anniversary, organized by the National Association of Ebekun Secondary Commercial Grammar School, host students host tomorrow at the school premises. This is contained in a release by the chairman of the Anniversary Planning Committee, Osunba Abdul Wahab Adewoyin. According to the release, activities include anniversary lecture with the topic Coding Jubilee Anniversary, Remembering the Past, Appreciating the Present and Inspiring the Future, will be delivered by the rector, the Polytechnic Iresi, Engineer Oluwatoyin Kadiri. Also, the commissioning of projects, foundation laying ceremony of permanent infrastructure, fundraising, luncheon, and award ceremony will also be conducted. A 7-hour with God program of the Christ Apostolic Church, Mountain of Praise and Power, Okeri, beside Oluoma House, Ire, host tomorrow morning till evening. A statement by the host pastor and prophet Kaode Kehinde indicates that the program with the theme God of Wonders will have the presence of great anointed men of God, including Pastor Do Daramola, Pastor Sam Folonsho, Lady Evangelist Kemioni, and other ministers of God. Prophets and Evangelist Kaode Kehinde hereby enjoined members of the public to attend the program where they will meet Jesus that will solve all their problems. The final burial of the late Oba Samson Babatunde Onolapo Oyesoji II commenced today with service of songs at Akoson's Palace, a cousin in Udotin local government of the state. A statement by the chairman, Ekosin Development Union, Mr. Olusegun Oyewumi, and Secretary, Mr. Olatobi Adeoye, says Oba Samson Babatunde Onolapo Oyesoji II changed his ancestors on Saturday, 26th of June, at the age of 85. The final burial is built for the First Baptist Church, Ekosin, tomorrow morning, while entertainment of girls will follow as Community Grammar School playing ground, Ekosin in Udotin, local government area of the state. Now to sports. The Nigerian Women Football League Premiership 2022-2023 season will kick off in October. Adeyemi Abodun has more on sports updates.
The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has withdrawn the 2025 African Cup of Nations hosting right it granted Guinea. CAF had announced Guinea as the tournament host on November 38, 2018, but the Continent Football Body has withdrawn the mandate. The Continent Football umpire noted that given the time frame for the tournament expected to hold in June-July 2025, Guinea was not ready. CAF has not made any official statement on the replacement for the tournament. Recall that the outgoing president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pini, had few weeks back announced Nigeria's readiness to co-host the tournament, but CAF then rebuked the report that the tournament will be taken away from Guinea. Meanwhile, head coach of the Super Eagles Team B, Salisu Yusuf, has said the team has moved on from the 0-2 loss to Ghana in Cape Coast with renewed determination to qualify for the 7th African Nations Championship in Algeria next year. Salisu, who led the class of 2018 to a second place finish in the final tournament in Morocco, said in Abuja that the team's concentration is how to score enough goals to overturn the deficit incurred in the away leg. Yusuf, who is on a very familiar terrain, says that the team will go all out on Saturday against Ghana. The Super Eagles Team B have continued their build-up for the return leg against the Black Galaxies of Ghana, billed for the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. The winner on aggregate will qualify for Algeria 2023. In the meantime, the Nigerian Women Football League Premiership season 2022-2023 will kick off on October 12. It was earlier fixed to kick off at designated venues across the country on September 14. Chief Operating Officer of the Nigerian Women Football League, Mudupe Shabi, explained that the postponement in the kick-off date was due to factors which cannot be ignored by the NWFL board for the sake of the development of the game. Spanish La Liga side Real Sociedad will unveil Super Eagles striker Umar Sadiq week. The La Liga transfer had shot with Sadiq Umar moving from Udil Almeria to Real Sociedad. Sadiq penned a 6-year contract and will wear jersey number 25 at his new club. Real Sociedad paid 20 million euros to acquire the services of the striker. He joined Almeria in 2020, scoring 41 goals. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is in London ahead of his move to Chelsea from Barcelona. Chelsea are reportedly paying £12 million for his services, with Marco Alonso joining Barcelona as part of the deal. The 2022 National Division 1 Handball League will hold in Benin City, Edo State, as from this month, according to a statement by the Secretary General of the Handball Federation of Nigeria, Anmo Umar. The second-tier league, which serves as the promotional competitions to the Handball Premier League, will commence from September 38th to October 9. Sport Update returns tomorrow. My name is Adeyemi Aboderi.
To end the news across the country, here again are the major points. Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC has cautioned the transition committee of the governor-elect Senator Ademola Adeleke to desist from falsely accusing Governor Oyetola's administration of unsubstantiated practices. A Plateau State High Court sitting in Jos today discharged and acquitted the former governor of the state, Mr. Juna Jan, over the 6.3 billion naira corruption charges levied against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The National and State Assembly Election Petition Tribunal sitting in High Court 4 Jos today nullified the election of Honorable Musa Aga of the People's Democratic Party. And we also brought to you that 7 persons have died in the last 4 days in the flood caused by heavy rainfall in Niger State. And that was the news across the country. Edited by Ulushola Egbodofo. For more Ebaros, can visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening. Good evening.
It's entertaining. It's educating. Really informative. Qualitative news as it breaks. It's OSBC Radio 2, 104.5 FM. Numero uno south of the Sahara. Voice of the West.
OSBC Radio, Araba ni baba o, ẹni abálàbà ni baba. Ẹ̀sìn tó síwájú ló gbà pé àfi kì í wọjà kí gbogbo ojú ọmọ mọ̀. OSBC òdú nìyẹn kì í sáìmọ̀ fólókò ọ̀dánládé àbíbòjì kánrin ká ṣètò tó mọ́gbọ́n dání ká sọ̀rọ̀ ká fakò mọ́ òkun yọ ká pèdè tó jẹ.